Hello listeners and welcome to Boomerang. This week it is TB4 bringing you the news taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier, published on Thursday the 8th of August 2024. And our readers today are Jackie, who has kindly prepared the Courier for this recording, Alison, Kate and Joyce. Harry is our recorder and copier, and Joan and Margaret will be along later to organise the distribution of the wallets. As usual, there will be 4 parts. Both parts 1 and 2 will be general news this week as there are no family announcements. Part 3 will include the quiz, and in part 4 there will be some sports news as well as the answers to the quiz. I usually write this introduction on a Thursday afternoon, and on this particular Thursday afternoon, the rain is just lashing down. Typical Scottish summer weather. I do hope that it improves before the weekend though, because an important event is being held in Linlithgow on Saturday and Sunday. It's Party at the Palace time. One of the headline acts booked to perform is Lulu, so I hope that she remembers to bring her umbrella, just in case. So, let's get started with the lead story this week and Kate.
Sanctuary is keeping Jamie's memory alive. Family bringing hope to others. The family of a popular young man who took his own life are making sure he leaves a lasting legacy of helping others. And the piece is by Debbie Hall. Jamie Aitchison was just 20 when he sadly passed away, struggling with mental health and addiction issues. To make sure his memory was kept alive, his friends and family set up Jamie's Sanctuary to support local youths. The charity has just held a fundraising football match so it can support more young people than ever. The memory of the beloved young man who took his own life is being kept alive by his family, who are striving to help others in his situation. Jamie Aitchison sadly passed away in December 2022, aged 20, after struggling with his mental health and addiction. While his mum, Debbie Ann Marriott, younger brothers, family and friends have all struggled after losing him, they have been determined that Jamie will leave a lasting legacy. They set up Jamie's Sanctuary in his honour and have been fundraising to provide a free drop-in centre for young people plus an outreach service. The most recent fundraiser, an annual charity football match, was held at the weekend and raised almost £2,000, plus awareness of mental health issues. Organised by Lee McNeil and Gary Short, the Jamie's Old Firm match was held at Blackburn United Community Football Club and saw Celtic and Rangers teams take on each other. This year there was also a snack van that came along, raffle prizes, and representatives from Andy's Man Club in Armadale also came offering support. Debbie Ann said, "Thank you to each and every one of you who have come along to support Jamie's Sanctuary and to everyone who contributed to the night, with donations and helping out and with everything else. To our Tracy for the cakes, Linda for the photography, to Rolls Choice for providing the food, to my amazing family, volunteers, our young people from the drop-in and of course Lee and Gary for making this possible. All in the memory of my beautiful boy Jamie, Jambo to his pals. Well done Rangers, who have won 2 years in a row." Next in the calendar is the annual Glittering Charity Ball on August the 31st. Bridges Properties in Whitburn will organise the event again this year after raising a fantastic £10,000 last year for 3 local charities, including Jamie's Sanctuary. This year, they will also be helping Kick Mental Health, another local community group that helps people with mental health issues. Scottish comedian Dee Maxwell is coming along to host this year, along with DJ and Clyde One radio presenter Cassie Gillespie. The weekly drop-in events for young people aged 18 to 25 take place on a Thursday at Whitburn Community Centre from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. There is lots going on, and in the past there have been visits from representatives from Social Security to let young people know what finance is available. A personal trainer has also visited to speak about the importance of exercise, along with reps from addiction services. There is also plans to provide confidence-building days out like Go Ape and cold water therapy. And this piece in the paper has been supported by 4 or 5 large pictures. First and foremost, it's much loved Jamie Aitchison. It's a picture of a very handsome, beautiful looking young man, and he's there with his family and his sister and brother. In addition to that, Debbie Ann is pictured with friends and family who attended the event to give their support, Jamie's little brother Oscar and his pal, and also a picture of the 2 football teams, and the one that's in the losing side, the Celtic team that took part in the game in his memory, and then there's a picture of the Rangers team who won 2nd year in a row.
Smoke seen miles away from fire in Blackridge. Fire crews raced to blaze on a West Lothian street that left a building destroyed. Emergency services were called to Main Street in Blackridge after the alarm was raised at around 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Firefighters surrounded a number of derelict garages on the street. The road was cordoned off while they tackled the blaze. It's understood smoke could be seen from miles away as it reached above trees. Fire crews quickly worked to control the blaze and no casualties have been reported. A spokesperson for the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service said, "We are currently in attendance on Main Street in Blackridge. We received the call at 4:59 p.m. on Tuesday, August the 6th, and mobilised 3 fire appliances and 1 height appliance. No casualties have been reported." Earlier that day, a spokesperson for Police Scotland said, "Main Street in Blackridge is closed following a fire at a premises that was reported to police around 5:25 p.m. on Tuesday, August the 6th. Emergency services are in attendance and the public is asked to avoid the area while the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service works to extinguish it. Many thanks to everyone for their patience." And there's a wee picture here, and it's of the 1 height appliance and a firefighter at the top of it in its little box, showering water on the derelict buildings.
Biker's garage trashed. A West Lothian biker is appealing for information after claiming his garage was broken into with a number of items stolen. Cammy Finnegan, 26, left his home at around 7:15 a.m. on Monday, July 29th, and says he was horrified to find his garage door wide open. He says the space has been trashed, with a number of belongings taken. He said, "I left the house Tuesday morning and walked to the garage from my house. The garage is a lock-up that's at the top of my street. As I walked up to the garage, I was shocked to find my garage door wide open. And as I got closer to the garage, my heart sank when I found the place was trashed and most of my belongings had been stolen." The 26-year-old says his motorbikes were luckily chained up and secure, but is offering a cash reward for anyone who comes forward with information on the location of the belongings. He said, "I'm absolutely furious. It's the fact no other garage was hit other than mine." Among the items Cammy said were stolen were a custom Santa Cruz High Tower carbon mountain bike, Ruroc Atlas helmet, Scorpion R1 carbon helmet, Frank Thomas leather jacket, an angle grinder, a ripsaw and a drill. A Police Scotland spokesperson said, "Around 7:30 a.m. on Tuesday 30th of July 2024, we were made aware of a theft from a lock-up in the Ferguson Road area of Broxburn."
The next story is entitled "Hero Slams Pool Closures." The Scottish Government has been blasted for allowing swimming pools to slam shut in struggling communities, despite receiving £6 million in ring-fenced funding to prevent this. The closure of leisure centres across the country was slammed by Olympic swimming hero Duncan Scott. A number of pools have shut in recent years, including in West Lothian. The UK government had created a ring-fenced £63 million fund last spring to keep pools open, with SNP ministers netting £6 million of this through Barnett consequentials. But this did not prove to be a lifeline for Scots councils, as they were rejected when they asked for this money to be passed to them. 4 councils, including West Lothian, pleaded with the Scottish Government to receive some of this cash in order to keep leisure centres open, but were rebuffed and told that overall funding for them had increased already by £254 million. This included 2 SNP-run councils in Renfrewshire and Dundee, alongside West Lothian and North Lanarkshire. In correspondence received by the Scottish Daily Express through Freedom of Information legislation, councillors and chief executives wrote to the SNP executive to ask for this money to save premises from closures. West Lothian Council brought up the fact it was shutting 4 sites: Excite Livingston, Excite Broxburn Swimming Pool, Excite Armadale and Howden Park Centre, and requested the funding urgently. North Lanarkshire councillors Heather Brannan-McVeigh and Jean Jones sought clarity on whether the cash can be used to save Gilsyth Pool. Dundee Council Chief Executive Gregory Colgan also wrote to the local MSP and Finance Secretary Shona Robison asking if funding will be distributed to local authorities, but was told no as well. The Scottish Government confirmed that the ring-fenced £6 million would instead be used elsewhere. A spokesman said, "We place great importance on swimming pools, which are crucial to well-being and, most importantly, for our children and young people to be healthy and active. It is for local authorities to manage their own budgets and to allocate the total financial resources available to them, including on leisure facilities."
£30 million to cut waiting times. Amman Valley MSP Angela Constance has welcomed the Scottish Government's announcement of an additional £30 million to reduce NHS waiting times. This funding is expected to significantly boost NHS activity, including 12,000 more procedures, 40,000 extra diagnostic procedures and 12,000 new outpatient appointments. Cabinet Secretary for Health and Social Care, Neil Gray, said, "This action will help Scotland's NHS maximise capacity, build greater resilience and deliver year-on-year reductions in the number of patients who have been waiting too long for treatments." Angela Constance added, "It is clear that improving public services is a key priority for the Scottish Government, and reducing NHS waiting lists in Amman Valley is at the heart of this commitment." The target £30 million investment will ensure that people in Amman Valley have greater access to appointments and procedures, continuing to work to reduce the number of people waiting too long for treatment. I am pleased to see the Scottish Government investing in our public services against the backdrop of further cuts from Westminster. First Minister John Sweeney is determined to deliver first-rate public services. This funding will ensure that the public has access to a health service that works for them.
Bin strikes expected to start in days. Bin strikes will start within days in West Lothian after a pay offer was rejected. Council workers will leave bins unemptied from August the 14th onwards. Strikes have been scheduled after staff in 3 unions, Unison, GMB and Unite, rejected a 3.2% pay offer from councils. Council bosses say they cannot improve the offer unless the SNP government brings more money to the table. Talks held this week between the government, councils and unions failed to reach an agreement, but sources said the discussions were constructive. Unison have notified 13 councils that strikes will take place over 9 days between 14th and 22nd August, while Unite and GMB have announced the same start date. Kate Greenaway, GMB Scotland senior organiser, said, "We had constructive talks with the Scottish Government and COSLA yesterday, but our members are less interested in constructive talks than fair pay. The process has gone on too long with too little progress. There is no more time to waste talking about old offers with new wrapping. Enough is enough. Industrial action will start in 2 weeks unless ministers and local authorities urgently identify the money needed to make a fair and acceptable offer. These strikes will be disruptive to all the Scots who rely on our members' work, but would not be necessary if councils had shown a greater urgency and sense of realism." GMB members in waste and recycling will strike in West Lothian, along with Aberdeenshire, Aberdeen City, East Ayrshire, Edinburgh, East Dunbartonshire and Falkirk. Workers in Fife, Glasgow, Highland, Inverclyde, Midlothian, North Lanarkshire, Orkney Islands, Perth and Kinross, Renfrewshire, South Lanarkshire and Stirling will also down tools. Unison's David O'Connor said, "Talks this week with the Scottish Government were positive. The Cabinet Secretary says he understands that additional funding from Government is necessary and has committed to work towards that. Unison has been trying to get pay resolved since the beginning of the year, and these government talks come too late to prevent strike notices being served. But at least we're forcing employers and government to focus on trying to find a settlement. Unite have confirmed that members will strike for 8 days across 18 councils between the 14th and 22nd August. Unite General Secretary Sharon Graham said, "Our membership has waited months for an offer which reflects their professionalism and the dedication which they put into delivering vital local services. Bin strikes 2 years ago during the festival led to Edinburgh becoming an international laughingstock, and business leaders fear the city's reputation will be hit again. Unions want an average rise of 4% for staff, with low-paid workers receiving a 5.5% increase. They have warned Scotland faces a stinking summer." Councillor Kate Hagman from Council Group COSLA said, "We welcomed the opportunity to jointly articulate the financial challenges facing local government in relation to meeting pay claims. It was an open and honest dialogue about how challenging the situation is in relation to council finances. It remains understood by all parties that pay negotiations remain between COSLA, as the employer, and the trade unions. Whilst no immediate solution was identified, officers will now undertake further work at pace in the coming days to explore all options to avoid industrial action. COSLA remains committed to continuing our negotiations towards finding a solution as quickly as possible, seeking to do all we can to avoid industrial action and its damaging impact on our communities. Council leaders value the local government workforce and their essential work across our communities. They recognise the workforce pressures and the need to reward reward them. And there's a photograph along with this article, and it shows a car's boot open with a huge black bag of obviously rubbish tied, believe it or not, with a yellow ribbon.
The next headline reads, "I had a close encounter with UFO 50 years ago," and the story is by Jacob Farr. a retired primary school janitor from West Lothian, has opened up on an alien encounter he experienced 50 years ago. Keeping it secret for 5 decades, Gordon McKerracher says he's had enough of worrying about what people think and has decided to share his story. Gordon has now decided to open up about his experience, which happened just a few miles away from the now world-famous West Lothian UFO sighting. In 1979, Bob Taylor claimed to have come face-to-face with alien life after he was confronted by a UFO at Dechmont Woods in Livingston, saying he had encountered a metallic sphere hovering in a clearing in the woods. Gordon says it was a brisk autumn night in 1974 when he left the cottage of a girl he was dating to travel down the old road connecting Kirknewton and East Calder. He said at 17 years old he was working on Ormiston Farm, rolling and ploughing fields and enjoying his youth. But his perception of the universe was irreversibly changed when he decided to look up into the sky during his walk home to his parents' cottage. Gordon, who now lives in Newbridge, described seeing a brown metallic conical structure that was the size of a caravan, floating around 100 feet above his head and travelling silently towards Bathgate and Dechmont. The 67-year-old remembers watching the aircraft as he hurriedly made his way to phone air traffic control at Edinburgh Airport from a phone box at the end of Langton Road. But after calling staff at the control tower, he claims he was told that no aircraft had entered or left the surrounding airspace in the past hour. I was walking from the cottage at Ormiston Farm at around 9:30 to 10 p.m, and back in the day it was a straight road down to East Calder, he said. I don't know why, but I looked to my left, and in the sky above me was this brown conical craft, travelling in total silence. I could see the moonlight shining off it. It was funny, as I don't remember being scared when I watched it, although it is possible I was at the time. I headed to the phone box on Langton Road, which was about a 20-minute walk, and phoned the control tower at the airport. I told them I saw a conical object flying in the sky that was completely silent. They went away to check, and when the guy came back, he told me that nothing had taken off or arrived at Edinburgh in the past hour. He said their radar did not capture anything during that time either. At first I thought it was maybe circling round to land at Edinburgh Airport, but obviously not. I just told the controller that it didn't matter and headed home. Gordon describes bottling up his experience as he did not want to be branded as an idiot or associated as someone who saw space people. The first time he opened up was several years later to his wife Margaret, when they were watching a show that mentioned extraterrestrial encounters. His experience stayed in the family, with his son Ross also learning of what happened 50 years ago.
And on that note, we have come to the end of part 1. But stay tuned for part 2, when the UFO story will continue. Welcome to part 2, and we will continue with more general news from the Courier, starting with the saga of the West Lothian UFO and Alison.
Gordon shares story he's hidden for years. Despite his concerns around other people's perceptions, Gordon grew in confidence after reading Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, which contained a near-identical drawing of a UFO craft that was spotted by a Yorkshireman around the same time. I never told a soul, Gordon continued. I was too scared because I did not want to be classed as an idiot, so I just kept quiet about it when I got back to my parents. Not once did I think my mind was playing tricks on me, as I knew exactly what I saw. I had no interest in UFOs at the time, or even thought about them or anything like that. The first time I mentioned it was after I got married, and something came on the TV about UFOs. I told my wife about the counter, and she just said, "Okay." I later told my son about it as well. Neither of them are really believers or non-believers. It never really comes up between us. I remember being taken aback when I read Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World in my mid-20s, and I came across a paragraph in the book about a Yorkshireman having a similar experience. He drew a picture of the craft, and I said, "Oh my God, that is exactly what I saw. It has the heavy bottom going up to a point." Earlier this year, Gordon joined a Facebook group, UFOs in Scotland. He began to read other people's stories and made the decision to share his own alleged encounter with like-minded people. I read other stories that people had shared and decided to share my own, he added. The response was incredible. With maturity, I decided I didn't care if people thought I was an idiot or seeing things. I thought, why should I keep this in? People can call me whatever they want. Hundreds of people reacted to my story, with some reaching out and getting in touch. I didn't realise that communities of like-minded people existed. The area where Gordon claims to have encountered the UFO has been developed with busy roads and homes built up over the years, completely transforming the once secluded spot. Returning to the site of the encounter recently, Gordon said he does not believe we are alone in the universe, and he is open-minded about what is out there. "I wish I could see it again. Honestly, I would love to see it," he said. "I do believe there's something out there, to be honest with you. I hope I'm not coming across wrong, but we cannot be the only beings in this whole universe. We can't be. It's impossible to think like that. There must be something out there. To think space is this phenomenon and it goes on infinitely for billions of years, and to think you could move through that and never meet another living organism is difficult to think. They could be more developed than us. What I saw was silent, and as far as I'm concerned, they have technology that we do not. I don't dwell on it. It has become an interest, but I just get on with my life." And there's a photograph of Gordon. He's sitting on a wall outside. He's wearing his dark blue Rugby Scotland top with his jeans, and is against a backdrop of a blue sky with nothing in it except fluffy white clouds. And he's looking very thoughtful.
The next story is entitled Designer Outlet Publishes a Record-Breaking Performance. Livingston Designer Outlet has reported a record financial performance during the first half of 2024. Its total sales during the first 6 months of this year were the highest ever for the retail destination, overtaking 2023, which was in itself a record year. The standout months were March, with a 13.3% increase in sales, June, with 9.3%, and February, with 5.2%, culminating in an overall 2.8% increase in sales during the first half. Footfall also saw an uplift of 2.3% for the period. The first half saw the return of French Connection and the Lola pop-up shop, part of Global Mutual's strategy to diversify the tenant mix, extend dwell time and boost sales. Built in 2000 by MacArthur Glen, the centre was then sold to LaSalle Investment Management during 2013 in a deal valued at £52 million. In 2017, the complex was again sold, this time to Blackstone, which backed a refurbishment aimed at higher-end stores and shoppers. In September last year, the outlet was acquired by Patron Capital Partners and Global Mutual for EUR 57 million. Nikki Lovell, head of outlets and business development for Global Mutual, said, "The record-breaking sales and footfall growth are a testament to the strategic initiatives and shifts in strategy combined with a clear corporate social responsibility vision."
Anger over house plan for fallen Heroes Field by Debbie Hall. Angry locals made their feelings plain this week about plans to build houses on a field dedicated to the fallen heroes of the First World War. The blueprint for around 50 homes on the fringe of Bathgate Hills was backed by the Scottish Government, leading to an outcry from the people in the town. The hillside site used to be home to the town's war memorial next to Napier's Avenue. The site, where many former soldiers had their ashes scattered, had been gifted to the people of Bathgate, but can now be redeveloped for housing once the reporter's decision has been finalised. Bathgate Community Council organised the meeting on Monday at Bathgate Partnership Centre so locals can have their say. Also attending was Bathgate councillor Harry Cartmill, who said there was much disquiet about the number of decisions overturned by the Scottish Government. He said, "There is much disquiet in Bathgate that yet again the Scottish Government's planning reporter has ignored the planning refusal decided by West Lothian's Development Management Committee. In Highland Region, the reporter overturned less than 10% of the council's decisions. In Edinburgh and Glasgow, it was 25%, yet in West Lothian, she has overruled over 70%. Fallside being the most recent, before the Veterans Nature Reserve. This, when pointed out, led to many at the meeting questioning the integrity of these faceless reporters. I always say they have powers that belong to North Korea. Why should one person be able to overturn democratic decisions made by local authority councillors and the will of thousands of local people? It's just appalling, and clear evidence that the planning system in Scotland is totally not fit for purpose." Residents present were also in agreement that West Lothian Council had no right to sell this land back in 2007. It was land and is common good land, and many expect that the council should do the right thing, buy back the land. Other concerns against development were the grossly inadequate entrances and exit. Council's highways engineers admitted at the Development Management Committee meeting that he had submitted a report and hadn't even visited the site. Going forward, the Community Council are going to form a subgroup to fight the reporter's decision by appealing to Scottish Government ministers and possibly going to the Court of Sessions to stop this further SG-sanctioned environmental vandalism and listen to people's voices. I will, of course, do all I possibly can to overturn this dreadful SG reporter's decision. A Community Council spokesman said, "The Community Council is meeting on Thursday to consider a request from the public meeting for the CC to lead a campaign against the housing development." The meeting was unanimously against proposals for a complete range of concerns covering drainage, access issues, flooding, history of the site, wildlife, the local council being overruled, and number of houses. Publishing his decision in May, Scottish Government reporter Gordon Reid said that the number of homes built could be conditioned by West Lothian Council. He did not believe that access to the site, up steep, narrow roads, would be problematic. Mr. Reid said that the number of homes built could be conditioned by West Lothian Council. Mr. Reid added, "Concerns are raised by the Council and in representations in relation to the overdevelopment of the site based on the number of units shown on the appellant's illustrative layout. Whilst the appellant has submitted an illustrative layout, the description the appeal proposal does not include and therefore seeks approval for a specific number of units for the site at this time." He added, "A total of 67 representations, including one from Bathgate Community Council, were received to the appeal proposal, raising concerns in terms of it not being in accordance with LDP, site capacity density. Loss of green space and environmental impact on wildlife, traffic access, road safety and parking, impact on education provision, draining impacts and impact on healthcare facilities. He said, "I am satisfied that these matters have been appropriately addressed in my above consideration of the appeal proposal against the relevant provision of the development plan." Mr. Reid said the issues of common good was not something he could consider, and added, "I note the concerns raised regarding the land related to the former site of Bathgate World War I Memorial and the issue of common good and ownership. Whilst I recognise these are important matters for the local community, they are not valid material planning considerations. Therefore, it is not possible to take these matters into account in the determination of this planning appeal." And along with this piece, it has a picture of Harry Cartmel leading a discussion and lots of local people coming out and listening to the proposal, and also one of the ladies from the council presenting information. And the highlight, it says, "Community blasts government ruling on site."
Police praise for brave victim as sex beast jailed for 5 years. A 58-year-old man has been jailed for 5 years in connection with a sexual offence in West Lothian. John Donaldson was sentenced at the High Court in Edinburgh on Friday, 2nd August 2024, for the serious sexual assault of a woman in Bathgate in July 2020. He was also given a 25-year non-harassment order. Detective Sergeant Peter Baxter of the Domestic Abuse and Rape Investigation Unit in Livingston said, "Donaldson will now face the consequences of his despicable actions in prison. I would like to commend the woman for her strength in coming forward during this investigation and helping us build a compelling case against him. I hope this outcome provides her with some sense of closure and allows them to move on from this horrendous ordeal. If anyone is experiencing or has experienced any type of violence or sexual abuse, you are not alone, and we would encourage you to report it to us. You will be listened to and supported throughout the entire process by officers and our partner agencies, and together we will bring the perpetrator to justice."
Blackburn Summer Camp. Summer fun in Blackburn. Community Action Blackburn provided a fantastic 4-week summer programme, topped off with a family trip to end the holidays. The events were run mostly by local volunteers and youths who gave up their time to give the children this amazing experience. The kids enjoyed themed weeks, park visits, a lunch delivery from local cafe A Fresh Start by Eileen, snacks and healthy fruit. And once again, local company JP Inflatables provided a fantastic water day free of charge to give back to his community. There was also a weekend family fun day at Blackburn Partnership Centre. And there's lots of photographs of all the children having fun at the summer camp. Lots of different games on offer, various activities. There's people doing craft quietly. There's people playing table football. There's a bouncy castle set out in the grounds on a lovely sunny day. And the main picture is of all this foam out on the grass. The foam is quite stiff looking. It looks more like egg whites whipped up. Obviously, it's not egg whites. And there's a wee boy wading through it. It's about up to the children's knees. So most of them are wearing swimming costumes and lying down in it. And they're clearly having an absolutely great time.
The next story is entitled "Shock at Sudden Closure of Nursery. Parents Devastated as Cross-Border Funding is Withdrawn by the Council." West Lothian parents have been left devastated following the sudden closure of their nursery. Bosses at Claylands Nursery in Newbridge informed customers via email on Friday, July the 26th, of their intention to cease trading on Wednesday, July the 31st. In an email, management blamed a recent Edinburgh Council decision to stop funding cross-boundary children from neighbouring West Lothian. One parent, Fiona McCluskey, said, "I live in Broxburn and Uphall, but work in Edinburgh, and one of the reasons we chose Clelands, as well as it is a beautiful outdoor space with superb caring staff, was the convenience of pre- and after-work pickups. It is so sad for staff and children alike. We are lucky in that my daughter is going to school this year, but had this hit us last year, we'd be absolutely stressed and under so much pressure while trying to juggle busy full-time jobs to find another nursery. I do really feel for all the families now being forced, under pressure, to find alternative childcare at such short notice, and with it already being under such short supply in this area, a near impossible task. I cannot fathom why the funding has stopped, and if true, shame on Edinburgh Council for stopping this when other areas still receive funding." The email from Clelands management read, "We are heartbroken to announce that Clelands Nursery will be closing its doors. You will have been aware that the City of Edinburgh Council decided to abruptly end cross-boundary funding for children from West Lothian from August. Leading up to and throughout July, we have kept a close eye on our occupancy as we were aware this would impact our preschool intake and force parents in younger age groups to find workable future funded places elsewhere. Whilst this was anticipated, more parents than projected advised us that they would have to leave. A significant amount of those parents and caregivers advised they were leaving without notice, as they understandably needed the certainty of funding elsewhere and have to take these spaces up as soon as they are offered. The drop in occupancy without notice has the knock-on effect of compromising our ability to pay staff in full for their work. Our staff have gone above and beyond for the children in their care, and we have taken the view that to accept any further fees without certainty that our team will be paid is not the right thing to do. For this reason, we have made the incredibly difficult decision to close." Edinburgh Council Education, Children and Families convener, Councillor Joan Griffiths, said, "Council officers were informed on Monday that Clelands private nursery will close on Wednesday. Despite the short notice, we have identified alternative provisions in the west of the city for all existing children eligible for funded childcare, and all City of Edinburgh parents and carers who have a child who is not yet eligible for funding but requires childcare. Officers have contacted parents today with this information and will ensure the children who move from Clelands are fully supported and welcomed to their new setting." Joan continued, "Council officers have followed all actions agreed by elected members at the Education, Children and Families Committee. We will be addressing this privately with the provider. At an Education, Children and Families Committee on April the 16th, the former Clelands owner said he had tried to contact with West Lothian Council. It is sad that they had explained because he was geographically in Edinburgh Council, he would need to get in contact with them." And that story brings us to the end of part 2. In part 3, there will be the quiz to look forward to. Welcome to part 3, and we will begin with the quiz. Question 1. What name is given to the indigenous Polynesian people of New Zealand? Is it Inuits, Aborigines, or Maoris? Question 2. What was the former name of Sri Lanka? Was it Malaya, Ceylon, or Burma? Question 3. What is the lowest pitched instrument of the violin family? Is it double bass, cello, or viola? Question 4. In the Old Testament, what was the name of the tower that was intended to reach heaven? Was it the Tower of Babel, the Tower of Pisa, the Tower of David? Question 5. Who wrote The Admirable Crichton? Was it J.M. Barrie? Was it R.L. Stevenson? Or was it Rudyard Kipling? And question 6. Which U.S. naval base in Hawaii was attacked by Japanese planes in December 1941? Was it Okinawa? Was it Hiroshima? Or was it Pearl Harbor? And those are the quiz questions for today. So we will now continue with items from the Courier and Kate.
Police advice to cut risk of crime. Police officers in West Lothian say they are continuing to see a high number of acquisition crimes in the county, which include break-ins and thefts. Officers are reminding the public of the vital role they have to play in helping to prevent such crimes taking place by taking simple yet effective steps to safeguard their homes, vehicles and businesses. To deter thefts from your vehicles, where possible, remove all items of value when you're parking up for the evening. If this is not possible, please store all valuables safely out of sight. For trade vans that store power tools and other equipment that could be attractive to would-be thieves, please consider the use of marking products such as Smart Water. They can not only serve as a deterrent, but can help police identify criminals and connect them to theft. Advice for home and business security is to always lock up properly whenever you head to bed or leave property unoccupied. Consider purchasing additional security, such as motion-activated light, alarm systems, and even CCTV footage. Also remember to consider sheds, garages and other outbuildings as extensions of your home, particularly if you are using them to store high-value items. Chief Inspector Joycelyn Thomas, Local Area Commander, West Lothian, said tackling acquisition crime remains a priority not only for officers in West Lothian but all of the Police Scotland. Whenever lines of inquiry exist to identify those responsible, we will pursue these and utilise all resources at our disposal to bring offenders to justice and return stolen goods to their rightful owners. However, the effectiveness of prevention cannot be understated. All crime prevention advice for securing your home is available on www.scotland.police.uk.
And the next article is by Stuart Somerville, and the heading is Lending a Hand to People When They Are Most in Need. A West Lothian group fighting to end food poverty is as vital as ever as it secures charity status. West Lothian's food network has achieved the milestone of full charitable status 4 years after its set up on the cusp of the COVID pandemic. The group of food charities helped more than 73,000 people last year and another 22,000 between April and June. The network has also helped cement social ties and sustain communities in the cost of living crisis. We spoke to 2 groups which provide food and other practical help in Knightsbridge, Northern Livingston, and in the village of Addywell near West Calder. In Knightsbridge, Livingston, Coordinator Julie Henderson said, "The people make it. This has brought the community together. More working people are in poverty. Julie has customers who work in supermarkets who do their shopping at the Venny outlet because it's more affordable." The Venny food outlet began operating long before the COVID outbreak and is one of the founding groups of the network. The Venny relies on donations. It was one of the first groups in the area to receive regular donations from the Serenians. They also have donations handed in. Julie explained, "We have a pensioner who comes in each week with 2 bags of shopping for us. People are not less needy. It's never quiet. Opening 2 mornings a week, volunteers get there for 9 o'clock to set up. A long centre table holds the fresh fruit and veg, as well as the day's bread. There's also a small freezer. Alongside food, the venue also has pet food and toiletries on sale. There's always plenty of fresh veg, which can be hard to find in small shops and are only available a bus ride away to much more expensive supermarkets." Julie said, "We are finding people are really down on their luck. They've got absolutely nothing. If somebody's got nothing, they get food. Nobody ever goes away empty-handed. We say, once you are on your feet, come back, get your food from here, and you'll save yourself a fortune." It helps them get back on their feet. Julie can also refer customers to the school bank, which provides uniforms, and to the council's advice shops. Local councillor Andrew Miller regularly volunteers. He said, "People come here and they are comfortable. They know Julie, they know me. They know what the score is. They are comfortable and there are no barriers to engaging. It is really positive in the middle of the community." Out in Addiwell, the larder was born out of the COVID lockdown, delivering meals to 86 local pensioners. Aside from one small shop in Addiwell, the nearest supermarkets are in Livingston, a £4 bus ride away. Volunteers got together and began delivering meals to old people sheltering from the COVID pandemic in their homes. As in Livingston, the service provided not only meals but maintained social contact with those who were self-isolating. Now the larder operates 6 mornings a week out of Logan Lee Miners' Welfare in the village. Avril Finlayson and her volunteers offer that same friendly social contact and a bag of food that can tide families over. West Lothian Council is funding the larder until next March. The volunteers buy food and sell it on at a much reduced price. Customers can fill a shopping bag for £6. Avril explained, "You cannot get a full shop, but you can buy enough to tide you over. We also have a table of short-dated meat that's always free. People feel comfortable coming to us. It's a social thing too. School uniforms are often donated to the larder, and it also plays host to the council and government agencies offering advice." Ray Fallon, the network's development officer, said, "The network received charitable status on 1st May. We are delighted to have achieved this milestone. The cost of living crisis affects us all. Last year, we supported over 73,000 people. The network helps prevent food insecurity and poverty, providing support before crises occur. We now have 22 member organisations offering services such as pantries, food vouchers, budget cooking classes and referrals to other support services, like the anti-poverty team to maximise income support." Ray added, "West Lothian Council's financial support has been invaluable. Charitable status allows us to apply for funding, fundraise and provide donors with confidence that their contributions are going to a legal, regulated body. We seek financial support from the generous residents and businesses of West Lothian. Donations can be made via our website or Facebook page."
Hard work pays off with exam success. Students look to future after outstanding results. West Lothian school pupils have been outstanding once again this year after they found out their exam results this week. The hard work of students was rewarded when the Scottish Qualifications Authority, the SQA, national qualifications and awards results were received on Tuesday. Early indications show that the results from pupils across West Lothian's 11 secondary schools have continued to improve across a number of key indicators on the Scottish Credit and Qualifications Framework, the SCQF. Initial analysis showed that the number of West Lothian pupils in S5 and S6 achieving one or more Level 6 qualification, which includes Highers, has increased across West Lothian. Also, both the number of S5 pupils achieving higher maths and those achieving 5 or more Level 6 qualifications, such as Highers, saw rises this year. Pupils across the local authority have the opportunity to undertake a wide range of courses, either in their own schools or in conjunction with partners through the West Lothian campus and at West Lothian College. As well as national qualifications, pupils have achieved National Progression Awards, HNCs, Skills for Work courses, and Foundation apprenticeships, among others. West Lothian Council Deputy Chief Executive Dr. Elaine Cook said, "Well done to all of our pupils who have received their exam results. Our analysis has indicated continued improvement in West Lothian, which is extremely pleasing to see. This is a wonderful reflection on the dedication, commitment and quality of our teaching staff across our local schools. I thank each and every member of staff for their efforts in supporting our young people throughout this academic year, and I hope they take great pride in seeing the successful results of our students." Dr. Cook added, "Exam results day can bring additional stress to young people and create some uncertainty as to what lies ahead. It's important that our students know that support is available to them through their schools and through organisations such as Skills Development Scotland, who are all available to help guide them through to a positive destination. For anyone seeking support and guidance after receiving their results, talk to your school. School staff will be available after the exam results are released to offer advice and help, particularly for pupils who intend to continue in school education. Skills Development Scotland. For careers advice, contact the special free helpline on 0808 100 8000, which is open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. You can also visit the website My World of Work. SQA. For information regarding appeals and more, visit SQA website. West Lothian College. For information about courses, visit West Lothian College website, contact the Admissions Office 01506 427 605 or email inquiries@west-lothian.ac.uk. Universities and Colleges Admissions Service, UCAS. If you are undecided about your future, there's a wealth of advice and information and options available on UCAS website. Listen and link. We all respond differently to important life events, like waiting for and receiving results. At times we may feel relaxed and calm, whilst at others we may feel worried. If you're feeling worried or have not had the results you hoped for, please know you can reach out to Listen and Link on 01506 283 160. And it's accompanied by a lovely photograph. It's captioned, "Proud Day, pupils at Inveramond were among those who received their SQA results this week." And it's a group of pupils who are outside Inveramond Community High School. But I think it's a photograph of two pupils from each of the 11 high schools within West Lothian, because they're all very smartly dressed, but there are different ties, different coloured blazers, and they're standing in the sunshine, flanked by two teachers, and they're looking extremely proud and very smart, and they should be proud of themselves.
The next story is entitled Last Hall in the Village Set to Close, and it's by Debbie Hall. People living in a small West Lothian village say they could soon lose their only meeting space for local groups and clubs. West Lothian Council announced proposals last month to look to transfer ownership of community centre buildings to the groups that use them. Management groups at all 38 of the county's community centres are being told they will have to consider taking over their buildings or taking on a lease. One of the premises affected is East Whitburn Village Hall. Locals said this is of particular concern because there is no other provision in the village. Apart from the loss of the single social venue in the village, it is the only meeting place if there was an emergency, like a gas leak. There are no schools or church halls in the village. Carol Bradley, chair of the Community Centre Committee, said, "We have organised a village meeting to discuss the situation and the options which the council have put to us, none of which appear viable. Quite a few residents have responded and asked if we have invited the media, as they are really concerned by the fact that we are being treated the same as villages and towns with multiple community halls. We have a very active committee who over the year have organised events for the village, such as Easter egg hunts, remembrance services, summer trips, pantomimes, Christmas children's parties and Hogmanay family parties. The hall is also used by a wide range of groups, including craft groups, fitness, karate, preschool groups, dance classes and dog training, and lots more. Additionally, we let it out at a subsidised rate to our residents, enabling many of them to celebrate events that they might not otherwise afford to do, like birthday and anniversary parties, family gatherings, etc. On top of this great loss is the worry that the village has no other provision should there be an evacuation of an area, that is, if there was to be a gas leak or flood. My understanding is that every village needs to have at least one community hall, church, school, centre, etc. We were initially told that we would be exempt for this reason. However, this seems to have been withdrawn. A meeting has been organised at the village hall on Monday, August the 12th at 6:30 p.m. Carol added, "I believe there will be a big turnout as the village is up in arms. A council official and Christine Sullivan, our new MP, have accepted their invitation." Outlining the plans on the council's website, Ralph Bell, the council's customer and community service manager, said, "No final decision has been made on the future of these facilities, but given the severity of the financial position that all councils find themselves in, it is absolutely necessary to review and change how services are provided. We simply cannot afford to continue to deliver the same level of services." He added, "Currently, individual management committees receive the income generated via community centres and village hall lets. West Lothian Council does not receive any income from lets, but does incur all of the costs for staffing, heating and electricity, maintenance and upkeep of the facilities. This financial model is no longer affordable, nor is it sustainable."
Drop in vaccine clinics to end shortly. Time is running out if you are eligible for vaccines to protect your health. Clinics within NHS Lothian are currently offering a drop-in service to patients eligible for a shingles or pneumococcal vaccination, but these end on Sunday, August the 11th. You're eligible for the shingles one if on September the 1st, 2023, you are aged 65, 70 or 71 to 79 and have not previously had the vaccination. You are also eligible for the pneumococcal vaccination if you are aged 65 or over. There are a number of drop-in clinics around West Lothian. The clinics available for drop-in services are Carmondale Health Centre, West Calder Health Centre, Bathgate Primary Care Centre, Howden Health Centre, Strathbrock Partnership Centre, Linlithgow Health Centre, Whitburn Health Centre. An NHS Lothian spokesperson said, NHS Lothian always aim to make it as easy as possible for you to get the vaccinations you need to stay healthy. For more information on immunisation generally and why these are important, you can visit NHS Inform. If you're not sure if you're eligible, you can use the online age eligibility calculator. If you do not fall under the above eligibility, do not attend a clinic for a drop-in. Please wait for your invitation for an appointment. We will contact you once you become eligible for vaccination. To check if you're eligible and what clinics are on offer, please visit www.nhslothian.scotland/vaccination/vaccination-clinics/.
We have now come to the end of part 3, and in part 4 we will tell you the answers to the quiz and some sports news will be included. Welcome to part 4, and we will complete our recording today with more news items from the Courier, but first of all, the answers to that quiz. Number 1. What name is given to the indigenous Polynesian people of New Zealand? They are Maoris. Question 2. What is the former name of Sri Lanka? That is Ceylon. Question 3. What is the lowest pitched instrument of the violin family? It is the double bass. Question 4. In the Old Testament, what was the name of the tower that was intended to reach heaven? That was the Tower of Babel. Question 5. Who wrote The Admirable Crichton? Well, the author of that novel was J.M. Barrie. And question 6. Which US naval base in Hawaii was attacked by Japanese planes in December 1941? It was Pearl Harbor. So those are the quiz answers, and I hope that you were all successful today. So now we will move on with more items from the Courier and Kate.
Salute to the memory of Korean War. A special wreath-laying service took place recently at the Korean War Memorial in the Bathgate Hills. The annual rededication service marked 71 years since the end of what is often referred to as the Forgotten War and honours those who served. Organised by the Korean War Memorial Trust, with those in attendance including Vice Lord Lieutenant for West Lothian Caroline McLachlan and local veterans, some of whom served in the Korean War. Proceedings were conducted by the Reverend Dr. Karen K. Campbell, National Chaplain, the Royal British Legion Scotland. And this piece is accompanied by beautiful pictures. We have the first one, which is a solo piper, absolutely immersed in the fir trees. It's wonderful, and he's got his full regalia on. Then we have the lady laying the wreath and the chaplain providing the service. And it's finished with about a picture of 8 or 9 ex-servicemen or retired servicemen looking very fine in their Glengarries and paying tribute to the Korean War.
Carvery to close for big revamp. A popular West Lothian restaurant will close temporarily for a revamp. The Toby Carvery, Bathgate Farm, will be closed for a month to undergo a facelift. It will close on September the 1st and reopen with a fresh new look on September the 25th. Customers are being advised to keep an eye on Facebook to stay updated on the progress of the renovation. A spokesperson said, "We are thrilled to announce that our restaurant will be undergoing a fantastic refit to enhance your dining experience. To make this transformation possible, our last day open before the renovations will be September 1st. We encourage you to book a table and join us for a delightful meal before we temporarily close our doors. Don't worry, we'll be back better than ever."
Time is running out to nominate your local councillor for a local government award. Your local representative could be in line for a national award at the 2024 Local Government Information Unit (LGIU) and CCLA Councillor Awards, the only national ceremony that celebrates the outstanding contributions of councillors across England, Wales and Scotland. For the 15th year, the Councillor Awards will once again shine a light on the achievements of local elected representatives who have made a tangible impact in their communities. Nominations are open to anyone, whether you're a member of the public, a fellow councillor or a council officer who wishes to acknowledge a councillor's exceptional commitment to improving their community and achieving remarkable results over the past year. The 2024 Councillor Awards have 5 categories: Community Champion, Leader of the Year, Young Councillor of the Year, Innovator of the Year, and Lifetime Legend. Nominations close on Friday, September the 13th, and the shortlisted candidates will be announced in the autumn. Submitting a nomination is free and takes just 8 minutes. Applicants must provide details about the nominated councillor, outlining why they deserve recognition and how their initiatives have positively impacted the community. Winners in Scotland will be revealed at the esteemed City Chambers in Edinburgh on Thursday the 14th of November. For more information and to submit your nomination, please visit the official website. Jonathan Carr-West, Chief Executive of LGIU, said, "The LGIU is proud to once again host the annual Council Awards, paying tribute to our locally elected representatives and sharing examples of the innovation and dedication our councillors demonstrate day in and day out. More than ever, local communities rely on councillors whose positive contributions impact our daily lives in many ways, from maintaining streets to funding community projects and shaping the character of our towns." Visit the website lgiu.org for details.
Our next story is a sports item, and it's entitled "Rose Bring Brock's Back to Earth in Derby," and it's by Paul Thompson. Broxburn Athletic boss Stevie Pittman admitted his side were brought back down to earth in the Lowland League after suffering a 6-2 thrashing at the hands of West Lothian rivals Linlithgow Rose. Pittman's side went into the game on a high after winning 3-1 at home to Broomhill on their Lowland debut last week. But Gordon Herd's Rose side were well up for the Derby clash and had the game put to bed at half-time, leading 4-2, before going on to grab a further 2 goals after the interval. A hat-trick from Laurie Devine, plus strikes from Dylan Patterson, Sean Brown and Paul Simpson did the damage, with Brock's netting through John Page and Errol Douglas. And Pittman admitted the hosts were just too good for his side. He said, "Linlithgow Rose's front 4 totally dominated the game. We didn't defend well, we didn't compete, but we had a chance at 3-2 to make it 3-3 and hit the side netting. Then our goalkeeper made a mistake. That made it 4-2 at half-time. We struggled after that, to tell the truth. They were a lot sharper and fitter than us, so it is just a learning curve for us. There will be bumps in the road, and this is one of them. We just need to regroup and get on with it. It is going to be a tough league, and that result just brought us back down to earth. Every team can play in this league, and if we aren't at it, we will struggle. We gave away stupid goals and defended poorly. We weren't at it for some reason, but take nothing away from Linlithgow, they were excellent. Every point you get, you will need to battle for." Rose boss Herd was thrilled with his side showing and heaped praise on hat-trick hero Devine. He said, "We were outstanding. That is the standard that we look to set. We looked very dangerous when we went forward. We played some good football and it was a joy to watch. We probably could have come away with more than 6. Laurie was outstanding. His pace in behind is explosive. I don't think he scored a goal for us last season, but he is off the mark with 3, so he can be really pleased with his day's work. I think there is more to come from him. His potential is huge. On Tuesday night, Broxburn followed up their loss with a 3-0 win away to Albion Rovers, while Linlithgow lost 4-3 at home to Hearts B. Brox host Cumbernauld Colts on Saturday, while Rose travel to Gretna.
Livingston Championship latest, Lion's Share of the Glory by Paul Thompson. Stephen Kelly reckons Livingston being among the favourites for the championship title can help the Lions roar. Following last season's relegation from the top flight and crashing out of the Premier Sports League Cup at the group stage last week, Livy responded by downing Dunfermline in their league opener at the home of the Setfair Arena on Saturday. Kelly grabbed the clincher with a cool finish after Scott Pittman's 49th minute opener to get their title bid off to a flyer. Dropping down from the Premiership, Kelly knows teams will be targeting them for a scalp this season, but the midfielder believes that can inspire them to make them immediately return. He said, "As players you don't really think about it too much, but personally it might bring a wee bit more out of myself because you know teams are coming for you. It adds a wee bit of pressure, but that's when you know if players can handle it. Last season was definitely a bit of a slog, and overall it wasn't good enough. This season brings fresh challenges. Most teams in the Championship have got enough to win games. It's just about finding that consistency. It comes from every day taking each other against as it comes, and the next game is the most important one instead of looking months down the line. In the first league game, you're always looking as quickly as possible to get the first win. Overall, we probably did enough to win the game, and a clean sheet was an added bonus. It is a fresh start for the Lions this summer, with 12 new signings in the door, and Kelly reckons the overhaul was much needed and has helped them pick up 4 wins and 4 clean sheets from their first 5 competitive games in from all competitions so far. Kelly, whose side now travel to Lesser Hampden on Friday night to face Queen Park in a 7:45pm kick-off, added, "Fresh faces help. There have been a few injuries and a few suspensions, so it will probably take us a few months to get into the season before we get into top shape. I suppose it's only a good thing if we are picking up results at this stage. We've had 1 or 2 team meals and stuff, but there's just a big turnover, and it's just about letting players settle and letting them get used to new surroundings. There's a whole lot of factors that it will take for players to get into their stride. Following the game against the Spiders, Livy head into a 2-week break due to the Premier Sports League Cup last 16 matches taking place on the weekend of August the 17th and 18th. And this piece is accompanied by Kelly making a fist and roaring loudly in his picture with his yellow top, and his caption beneath it is, "Hear us roll. Kelly celebrates his goal against Dunfermline."
Forbes takes Formula 2 crown. At the Cowdenbeath race wall on Sunday, the weather was dull, but Broxburn's Colin Forbes had a bright day as he claimed the Formula 2 title on the day. Forbes didn't start too well when he was caught up in a 3-car shunt, and whilst he restarted, he wasn't classified. In Heat 2, he quickly took the lead and had soon built up a big lead. When world champion Gordon Moody moved into second, the gap began to close, with Moody just getting into the lead on the last bend to get to the line just ahead of Forbes. The final turned out to be a similar race with Forbes building up a big lead only for Moody to start to reduce the gap. However, this time, Forbes held on, crossing the finish line with Moody glued to his back bumper. In the mini-stocks, Bathgate's David Philp Jr. suffered a mechanical problem which sidelined him, but Blackridge's Owen Marshall had a mixed time of it. He started off with a 4th place in Heat 1, but wasn't classified in Heat 2. He then ran with the leaders at the start to the final before being shunted wide and had to be content with a 10th place. Evie McClellan was back out in the micro F2s, where she was 3rd in the opening heat but dropped to 7th in Heat 2. She was soon making good progress in the final, where she ended up as the runner-up. The stock cars revert back to Saturday evening next week, where the Formula 2, Pro Stock Basics and the Micro F2 drivers will race for their Turner trophies. Start time is 6 p.m. And there's a photograph accompanying this, and it's the 3 men sitting on the wheels of a stock car, and in the middle is the champion, Colin Forbes, and each of the men are holding silver trophies, conical shaped, almost like how you would have in the old days a paper poke, as we would call it, and except these are silver, and they're sitting there, and Colin Forbes, as I say, in the middle, holding the black and white checkered flag.
Livingston 1s are facing the drop as 2s sit at top of the table. Livingston Cricket Club are staring relegation in the face after losing a crucial East of Scotland Cricket Association Championship match by 26 runs at home to Linlithgow. The West Lothian Club are 9th in the 10-team league with just 3 games remaining. Livingston captain Ahmed Ali won the toss and elected to bowl first. The home bowlers capitalised on this decision early on, reducing Linlithgow to 72 for 6, led by Ali, who took 6 wickets for 38 runs in his 8 overs. However, a resilient knock from John Strachan, who scored 72 runs, and determined efforts from Linlithgow tail-enders helped them reach a competitive total of 186 all-out in 44 overs. Livingston's chase began badly, losing 2 early wickets for just 8 runs, but a solid 64-run partnership between Omay Altaf and Uday Redipalli gave them hope. However, Livingston crumbled from 72 for 2 to 126 for 9. Afzal Sipra's late cameo, supported by Catherick Manny, added a 36-run last-wicket partnership. However, Livingston fell short, needing 27 runs in their final over and eventually lost their last wicket. Livingston faced Stuart's Melville too at Inverleith on Saturday in what is a must-win game. Meanwhile, Livingston too stayed top of the ESCA Division 5 table with an 8-wicket win at Stuart's Melville 3. Winning the toss, Livingston opted to bowl first, but with only 9 players on the field, they struggled initially. Stu Mel seized the early opportunity, racking up runs freely in the first 10 overs. The game took a dramatic turn when Hamid Ahmed's bowling spell restricted the run flow, but also brought crucial wickets, halting Stuart's Melville's momentum. Despite this, the hosts posted a challenging total of 198 for 9 total in 40 overs. Livingston's response was instant. Jai Karthikeyan contributed a blistering knock of 40, studded with 7 boundaries and a 6. After his exit, Ross Mackenzie was quickly dismissed and Livingston appeared to be in a precarious position. However, a brilliant partnership between Habib Bukhari and Asif Rai revitalised their innings. Bukhari contributed a composed innings of 65, while Rai remained unbeaten with a spectacular 73. The climax of the match came in the final over, with Livingston needing 28 runs to win. Rye took centre stage and delivered an astonishing performance, smashing 28 runs off the first 5 balls of the over, including 4 sixes and a 4, sealing victory inside 26 overs at 202 for 2. Livingston 2 next week host Melrose at Dresselrig. Finally, Livingston 3 made short work of Clackmannan County 2 in Division 6, winning by 6 wickets. Having won the toss, Livingston put Clacks into bat, and their bowlers ripped through the order, skittling them for 71 all out in 24 overs. In reply, Livingston reached 75 for 4 in 18 overs for an early bath. They travelled to Kirkbrae 2 on Saturday. And there's a photograph. It's captioned, "Opportunity knocks. Livingston 2 stars Asif Rai and Habib Bukhari helped their side to an 8-wicket win over Stuart's Melville 3. And the 2 cricketers are shown holding their bats high triumphantly. They're wearing their very smart dark green tops with long sleeves and long trousers, and they've got their helmets sitting on the ground at the bottom."
And that brings us to the end of our broadcast for this week. We hope that you found it enjoyable and informative. Please put your memory stick back into the blue envelope, change the address label and pop it into the post box. Please remember that our wallets should only be posted in a post box and not taken to a post office. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and very best wishes from Team 4.